Okay, let's dive in. We're looking at a source today that, well, it really challenges how we usually approach goals. Especially around New Year's. That whole resolution pressure.
Absolutely. And the source itself, it's excerpts from a chapter called, and the title kind of says it all, Goals to Set That Are More About Enjoying What You Have Than Chasing What You Don't.
Yeah, that title alone, it's a whole different way of thinking, isn't it? And the core idea in there is pretty powerful. It basically argues that, milestones, hitting the goal weight, the
Yeah.
promotion, buying the thing,
hmm
they don't actually give us that deep, lasting emotional fulfillment we think they will.
Exactly. And the source suggests that this gap, this feeling of like, okay, I did it, now what? That's why we often jump into resolutions about changing our lives, our external situation.
Right, changing the outside stuff.
Instead of maybe focusing inward, changing ourselves, our perspective, how we see things. It's like we're constantly rearranging the furniture, hoping the room feels different inside.
That's a great way to put it. Like the answer is always out there.
Yeah.
So the really big question this source puts forward is, what if the best goals, the most meaningful ones, were actually about learning to love, to really appreciate what we already have?
And it kind of hints that maybe, just maybe, this appreciation is what we were actually looking for all along.
Wow.
And, well, that's what we're going to explore in this deep dive. We want to look at the specific, actionable ideas the source gives for setting goals that are really centered on that appreciation, on contentment, on finding the value in the now.
Okay, so let's really get into that main shift it talks about.
Yeah.
Moving from chasing
Mm.
to enjoying. The source isn't saying milestones are bad, is it? They show progress.
No, not at all. They're definitely markers, like pins on a map showing how far you've evolved. But where it says they fall short on fulfillment, well, it touches on something psychologists often talk about, hedonic adaptation.
Ah, yeah. I've heard of that.
You hit the goal, you get that temporary buzz, right? But then pretty quickly you adjust. It becomes the new normal and you start looking for the next hit, the next goal.
The feeling doesn't last because it was tied to the external thing, not something inside.
Precisely, that hedonic treadmill idea. You get the thing, feel good for a bit, but your baseline happiness kind of snaps back and you need another win for the same feeling.
Okay.
And the source argues that's where the confusion lies. We chase the external, the bigger house, better job because, well, society often implies that's where happiness is found.
Mm.
But if the fulfillment doesn't actually come from the thing itself, but from our internal state, then constantly changing the external,
Mhm.
it's maybe not the most effective strategy.
So the pivot is away from trying to change the scenery, changing our lives,
Mm-hmm.
and towards changing the person looking at the scenery, changing ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
our perspective, how we react, our internal wiring, kind of.
Exactly that. It's a fundamental shift in where you look for value, for satisfaction. Instead of the goal being, I need to get X or I need to reach Y, the goal becomes more like, how can I find peace or joy or meaning in Z, which is already right here?
What if the ultimate goal was just loving what you currently have?
That is profound when you really sit with it, isn't it?
It really is. It flips goal setting on its head from, I need this because I'm lacking it, to, I need to appreciate this because I already have it. A deficit model versus an abundance model.
And what's so powerful about that reframing is it suggests the resources you need for feeling fulfilled. They aren't miles away in the future or tied to some specific circumstance. They're potentially right here within your grasp now.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? This source gives like a whole list of specific ideas, right? 16 of them, I think?
Yeah, 16 concrete ideas to put this philosophy into practice.
Let's look at the first one. It sounds simple, but maybe it's not. Pick up where you left off.
Oh, I love this one because it immediately pushes back against that new year, new me, gotta change everything feeling.
Right.
The source says, finish those books you started and left halfway through. Actually use the food that's already in your pantry before you buy more. Wear the clothes you own. Maybe just put them together differently. Revisit old projects you were excited about once. Call those old friends you miss. Even just like try a different route on your walk or commute.
It's like it's saying, look around. You've already got this wealth of stuff, experiences, potential right here. Start
Yeah.
with that. It kind of stops that immediate reflex to go out and get something new.
It really does. And it
Uh.
connects right back to the core idea. Finding value in what you already possess. Physical things, yeah, but also relationships, unfinished ideas, creative sparks. Use what's in your orbit first.
Okay, moving on to relationships. The second idea is appreciate people as they are. This one feels, well, incredibly important,
Mm.
but maybe also really hard for a lot of us
It's definitely challenging. The source is super clear here. Focus on appreciating people for who they actually are right now, not constantly wishing they were different or holding on to some ideal version of them in your head.
And it says, very directly, it's not your job to judge if someone deserves your love or kindness. And it's not your job to fix anyone.
Your job is to love appropriately. That's the phrase it uses. And then that line that really hits home, you are not anybody else's God.
Oof. Yeah, that gets deep, doesn't it? Directly at that impulse to control or change others.
It really forces you to look at your own expectations, your own boundaries, instead of trying to make someone else fit your mold. Think about the sheer energy sometimes spent wishing someone was different. This says, maybe let that go.
Building on that, idea number 3, prioritize existing friends. Make more time for the friends you already have, rather than always trying to make new ones.
Yeah, the source kind of pushes back on this idea that a bigger network automatically means you're more loved or successful. It says, stop counting heads, basically. Instead, appreciate how rare and valuable it is to have even one truly close friend.
And it adds that note, which is important. Not everyone even have that privilege.
That's such a grounding reminder. You know, in a world often focused on networking, expanding your reach, this is about deepening the roots you already have.
Quality over quantity
Yeah.
applied to friendships.
Absolutely. And again, it's about finding richness in your existing resources, your people, your connections.
Okay, idea 4, shift gears. It's very personal, sometimes a bit tricky. Journal body's daily actions.
This is such a fantastic way to cultivate appreciation for your physical self without getting tangled up in appearance issues. The source suggests just writing down one thing your body let you do each day.
Simple things.
Super simple, like watched a movie, heard the birds outside, saw the screen, hugged my kid.
So the focus is purely on function, on experience, not like how it looks or comparing it.
Exactly. It's an exercise in what you might call embodied gratitude. Instead of dwelling on perceived flaws or how you look, you're deliberately noticing and thanking your body for its amazing capabilities, how it lets you interact with the world every single day. How often do we actually pause and appreciate that?
Not often enough, probably. Okay, number 5 is beautifully simple. Love low-cost things.
This one really speaks to finding joy in what's easily accessible, learning to appreciate simple stuff. Making and eating basic food, just being outdoors, the quiet company of a friend, taking a walk, seeing a sunrise, getting enough sleep, that feeling after a decent day's work.
Things that don't need a big budget or complicated plans.
Right. They're available pretty much regardless of income or circumstances. It fundamentally challenges that idea that happiness is tied to buying things or hitting big goals. It says the raw materials for contentment are often abundant and often free.
Idea 6 offers a really practical technique. Start a journal of days.
And the source, I think, nails why regular journaling often fails for people. It feels like too much pressure. You have to write pages and pages.
Yeah, it can be intimidating.
So the alternative is brilliant. Just write one sentence to sum up each day.
One sentence. That feels doable.
Totally doable, right?
Yeah.
And the source says the payoff is huge. You look back after a year and you have this incredibly concise, powerful snapshot. You see how far you've come, maybe themes emerge, what your life is actually made of. It's like gratitude accumulated one sentence at a time.
That actually sounds like a manageable way to build a really meaningful record from that appreciative angle.
It shifts the focus from needing to document every little thing to just capturing the essence of the day, which fits perfectly with appreciating the moment you're in.
Okay, number 7 tackles something huge for many people. Work. Find joy meaning in current work.
Yeah, this pushes back hard against that modern obsession with finding your one true capital P purpose.
Right, like it's hidden somewhere and you just have to find it.
Exactly. The source suggests work fulfillment isn't about discovering some external destiny. It's more about infusing purpose into whatever you're already doing.
So it's less about needing to change the job itself and more about changing your relationship to it, how you approach it.
Precisely. It's about looking for ways within your current role to apply your values or connect with people or contribute something that feels meaningful to you. Rather than waiting for some mythical perfect job to magically give you meaning, you bring the meaning to the work.
Okay, idea 8 is about celebrations. Create own holiday traditions.
This one encourages you to make those special days really reflect who you are, what you love, how you genuinely want to celebrate life, instead of just, feeling obligated to follow traditions that maybe don't even resonate with you anymore.
Bringing your authentic self and your actual values into those moments.
Which is, again, another form of appreciating what's truly meaningful to you and the people you share those times with, rather than just conforming to what everyone else does.
Idea in line is a practical challenge. Do a spend cleanse.
This means picking a period of time, a week, month, whatever, and committing to only using stuff you already own. No buying anything non-essential.
Hmm.
And the source says this isn't just about saving cash. It teaches you that skill of delaying gratification, which is huge. And it often reveals pretty powerfully that you probably already have enough, or at least way more than you realize.
That's like direct counter-programming to that constant urge to consume, right?
Yeah.
Makes you appreciate the resources you actually have on hand.
Totally. It highlights how much of that chasing what we don't have is maybe driven by consumer culture, by the belief that happiness comes from the next purchase, when often everything we truly need is already right here.
Okay, number 10 is about your physical space. Give everything a home.
The source calls this the key to feeling peaceful in your environment. It means, actually going through your stuff, keeping only things that are truly purposeful or beautiful to you.
Getting rid of the clutter.
Right. And then assigning a specific spot for everything you keep, a place where it belongs and where it's easy to put it back.
And the payoff is that maintaining your space becomes almost effortless, and it just feels calmer.
Exactly. It's extending that appreciation principle to your surroundings. By choosing carefully what you keep and organizing it, you're kind of honoring those items, reducing the visual noise, and creating a space that actually supports your well-being, appreciating your home by taking care of it.
Number 11 gets into finances, but in a really interesting way. Live within your means.
Yeah, this isn't just the usual don't spend more than you earn advice. The source makes a really sharp point about what it calls percentage habits.
Percentage habits.
It argues that the habits we form around spending a certain percentage of our income, those tend to stick no matter how much our income changes. So if you're used to seeing basically all your income as spending money,
That habit stays even if you get a big raise.
that's the argument. So learning to live comfortably within your current means, whatever they are, is actually the crucial skill. It's what allows you to build savings or achieve bigger goals when you do earn more down the line. It's like practicing responsible stewardship now.
It's about cultivating a healthier relationship with your resources right now, appreciating the security that comes from not stretching yourself thin rather than always spending right up to the limit.
Exactly.
Idea 12 is short, but wow, it packs a punch. Call your mom.
Mm-hmm. And that source note is so important, so grounding. Not everybody has this privilege.
Yeah.
It's just a simple, stark reminder to appreciate those really significant relationships, especially family ones, if you're fortunate enough to have that connection.
It really drives home that some of the most valuable things aren't things at all. They're people. And those connections need tending.
Absolutely.
Okay, number 13 is about redefining what you're actually chasing. Aspire to give meaning, not seek things for meaning.
This is a really profound flip, isn't it? Instead of chasing external markers of success, like status or wealth-thinking, they will bring meaning.
Right.
The source says maybe chase kindness instead. Instead of believing wealth defines a life well lived, maybe believe that cultivating your intelligence or your kindness or your open-mindedness is what really matters.
Shifting the focus from getting external validation to nurturing your internal character and how you contribute outwardly.
It puts the power to create a meaningful life squarely back in your own hands, in your daily actions, what you give, rather than waiting for external circumstances or achievements, what you seek to provide it for you.
Number 14 is about energy and priorities. Do important things immediately.
The suggestion here is pretty practical. Figure out what matters most to you and tackle it first thing, ideally when your energy is highest, often in the morning.
Makes sense.
But the source adds another layer. By consistently choosing what gets your best energy day after day, you actually gain incredible clarity on what truly does matter most to you. Your actions reveal your priorities.
So it's like letting your actions define your values, not just thinking about them, and using your prime resource, that focused energy, on what you genuinely value.
Yes, it connects your productivity directly to your purpose, making sure your effort goes towards appreciating and building on what actually contributes to your definition of a good life.
Okay, number 15 is about letting go. Shed what no longer serves.
The source suggests you can practice letting go of big, difficult things. maybe old hurts or limiting beliefs, by starting small. Practicing letting go of little things.
Like physical objects.
Exactly. Specifically, it mentions releasing belongings or objects that, have negative associations or memories tied to them, things that just kind of weigh you down when you see them.
And the idea is that physically letting go of the object makes it easier to mentally bypass the negative thoughts or feelings connected to it.
It's like a form of psychological decluttering. Your physical environment and your mental space are linked, right? So clearing out things that drag you down emotionally can actually create more room for positive feelings, for appreciating the present without that old baggage.
Makes sense. Okay, finally, number 16, pace yourself.
This is such a simple, physical way to stay anchored in the present. The source offers a little test. Check in with your breath. If you can't really feel it, you're probably rushing, moving too fast. It emphasizes prioritizing physical relaxation, being mindful, being present, being intentional in what you're doing.
So the focus shifts from just how much did I get done to the quality of the experience while doing it.
Precisely. It's a powerful reminder that, appreciating life happens now, in this moment, not just when you cross some future finish line. It encourages you to slow down enough to actually experience the life you're living, to appreciate the journey itself, not just the destination.
So pulling back from this list, which is full of really practical, insightful stuff, what this source is really offering is, well, a pretty major shift in perspective, isn't it?
It really is. It's about redirecting all that energy we often spend chasing more or different,
Yeah.
and pointing it towards finding the value, the joy, the real fulfillment in what's already here. In our lives, our relationships, our bodies, our work, our homes, even our finances.
And these 16 ideas, they're not like strict rules, are they? The source presents them more as starting points.
Exactly. Ideas to get you started. That's the phrase used. It's an invitation to experiment, to just try a little bit of this different way of looking at things, this different way of being.
It's about changing the lens, really. Moving from seeing lack and focusing on the future to seeing abundance and appreciating the present.
And maybe realizing that contentment isn't necessarily a prize you win after achieving something, but maybe it's a practice, something you cultivate right here, right now.
Wow. Well, this deep dive has definitely surfaced some really powerful ideas from this source, challenging that conventional wisdom about goal setting and offering this alternative path focused on appreciation instead of always chasing.
It really leaves you thinking, doesn't it? That maybe the life we're striving so hard for is less about getting to some new peak and more about truly discovering the beauty of the place we're already standing.
So, given everything we've discussed from this source's perspective, here's something maybe for you, the listener, to mull over. How much of your own energy right now is focused on what you don't have, or what needs changing on the outside, versus finding contentment, finding joy, finding opportunity in the life you actually have, right here, right now?